Okay, so let's talk about branding for plumbers, because this is something that I see as a pain point for a lot of guys, where you may have been at this for a year to 10 years and you don't have a quality brand for your business. And then you end up wondering why everything is expensive, you can't get ahead, and jobs aren't booking, and people are constantly kicking you for price. So let's dive right into let's start by defining what a good brand is, or what a brand is, and then what a good brand is. So to start out, a brand is really the way you approach the market. It's the personality by which you extend your business to customers. And what I am seeing over and over again are guys who are not putting forth a good foot forward that matters to the customer. And when you do that, you have to convince them really hard. And that costs a lot of money to do. Versus if you have a good quality brand that people can trust because they identify with it, everything becomes cheaper and easier, including and most definitely building your business and getting jobs on the books. So the elements of a brand within that personality are logo, colors, fonts, maybe an avatar, textures, values, all of that. How you talk, how you present yourself, all that is part of your brand. So, and I'll give you an example. I got on the phone with somebody a little while ago, and they had taken some approach to a brand because they had gotten a logo done. In that logo, they used a lot of blues and reds, and then they had an angry bulldog holding a wrench in its mouth. And that was like a Disney cartoon style thing. However, the problem with this is your average market is going to be someone who doesn't want that in their home, right? That brand immediately screamed aggressiveness. And that is not what you want to do if you're looking for residential service work. What you want is something that's friendly and inviting. And so they were like on the right path a little bit, but then they bungled the execution by going for something that mattered to them instead of what mattered to their customer. And remember, your average customer for most home service businesses is going to be a middle-aged woman who is staying at home or has a job, but she is the one who actively makes decisions for the household. So are there exceptions? Yes, but that's what it is. So further examples of branding, because I see this all the time, like, hey, how are your vans marked? Oh, they aren't marked. Great. You've been in business for 5 years and you haven't marked your vans? No wonder you can't grow. Nobody knows who you are. You're an unmarked panel van driving along the road in these neighborhoods where you want more jobs. So wrap your van or put stickers on it at the very least. So that way when you roll up into the driveway, they know who that is. There's a gut check that happens every time somebody interfaces with your business. And that includes when you roll up into the driveway, that includes what's on your website, that includes what your advertising looks like, and that includes what uniform you're wearing and how you smile at the customer. Those are all gut checks for the customer. And if you don't pass those gut checks, they will either back out of a call or a deal or a click or a point of contact, or they won't call you again. You need to breed loyalty with good brand. So another thing that we see as far as a branding error is vans with really small stickers, like they're like lightly marked. And you have to realize how many panel vans, white vans, are on the road for varying different kinds of businesses. You can't expect to just suddenly open a business and people will flock to your door. And then you can't expect to put your name on the side of a van and people will flock to your door because everyone put their name on the side of the van. You're no different than a pest control company, an electrician, a garage door company, or a plumber, right? And the whole point of good quality branding is to rise yourself above the noise, which is why the personality and why all that matters so much. So the other thing is using reds, blues, water drops, and wrenches. I mentioned a wrench earlier. Those are mistakes. People do it all the time. The customer doesn't care about a wrench. What they care about is, does this look like a fun company, right? They don't care about water drops. Is it a fun company? Now, if you take a water drop and you give it arms and legs and a big old smile, you're on the right path. But a lot of other people have done that too. So look into your market and see what other people are rolling around with brands. So the other thing is, like, I really like avatar related brands, the Saturday morning cartoon approach, things that really push into that sort of nostalgic zone of, oh, I used to invite this to my home every Saturday morning. Why wouldn't I invite the plumber who references this in their business? Like, it's a comfort zone. So now, I've already said rise out of the noise, and that's what good branding will do. The other thing that it does is it lends credibility to your business and who you are as you're doing business and as you're just driving from job to job, right? The other thing it does is it makes your advertising, makes everything more persuasive. And when it's more persuasive, people are more apt to click on it, which means you don't have to spend as much to get the same result as the big guy with good branding down the road, right? But if you're, and because I've seen this, people go like, these ads don't work. Well, maybe these ads aren't working because your company doesn't make good ads by nature because of what kind of a company it professes out into the world. Right? And so one of the ways to look at this is with Google search. If you're running search ads and you have a website that is no different than any other plumber, then what's the point of them calling you versus somebody else? Or if you have a website that doesn't immediately exude care and comfort and tell people what they want, what you want them to do, call now, fill out this form, we're the best plumber in this market, we love serving people like you, things like that. If your website doesn't have all that above the scroll, you're missing out. You're sending people to a black hole, and you're sending your money there as well. So what you really want to make sure you do is meet people with what they want to invite in. And if you aren't doing that, everything is more expensive. You just need more ups at bat in order to swing because you're going to miss a lot because your brand is bad. That's really what it boils down to. So now, that's what, when you do separate yourself from the noise, you start building reputation. You start building credibility. You start building familiarity, so that way people don't even go to Google to call a plumber. They just come straight to you. That's our ultimate goal, is to get people so familiar with your company that they just call you. There's nobody else in the market like to them. You're the guy. You're the company. Why should I go to Google? Because Google will cost you $50 a click. And if you can avoid that, great. You do better. But also, if you do decide to pay that and you don't close the deal because your brand doesn't support what the customer wants, that's $50 a click you're leaving out the door, and it just disappears. So this is why branding is so important. And this is why it's something that needs to be early in your business career, is you need to go out, get a logo, get a van wrap, make sure it's bold and poppy and fun and not aggressive and not alienating part of your core demographic, which is a big deal. I ran into that the other day where somebody had a name that had a light tinge of sexual connotations. And I was like, you might need to rethink your name, but workshop it. So wrapping up, what I'm really hoping that people do is they stop hiding their business behind either not signage because they don't feel confident in their business, which is a factor, or that they realize that they are not putting their best foot forward, and that's why their business is not growing. The companies that grow on our client roster are the ones who have killer brands, which is why we offer branding. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I hope it helps sort of guide you into why branding is so important. If you want to talk about your branding, go to mammothforplumbers.com. There's a link there. You can schedule a consult with me, and then we'll see if what we do works for you. But also, I'm really curious as to your feedback on this little tirade that I have. So by all means, please leave a comment. If you have any questions you can ask there, I'd be happy to field them in the comment stream. And then let's talk a little bit about branding just on YouTube and Facebook, right? So anyway, hope this is giving you a little bit of a roadmap of what it's like when you first start a company, or perhaps risen an issue that you know you need to take care of within your own company, nice and early. Anyway, you take care. Thanks for listening.